Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Yeah, you heard it there. This is Matterhorn Mondays, you guys. Episode 55, in fact. We'd love to welcome every single one of you. Oh, did I say 55? Episode 85. Yes. Not 55. Yeah, I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm Alex the Historian.
And we are glad to be here today, you guys. Whoa, Steve made it just in time. Oh, so did Amelia. That's awesome. Christian as well.
Hey, Steve.
Hi,
Papa Steve.
Yeah, we got a great stream plan for you guys. We do have a lot that we got to get through this episode. Yeah, I cannot believe Batman is going to be in Avengers Endgame. Sort of blew my mind as well when I heard that, Caleb. So, can't wait for the movie to come out this Friday. But before we get into any of the main topics, I'd like to say that this episode of Matterhorn Mondays is sponsored by all of my patrons over on patreon.com/Matterhorn Mondays. You can do !Patreon in the chat if you'd like to be linked, but also the link will be in the description down below, as well as links to all the articles we're going to be talking about in today's episode. And if you guys would like to join my Discord server, link will also be in the description below. We have a lot of wonderful discussions that we have there, lots of great memes that are posted. It's a really tight-knit community, I feel, over on our Discord server. It'd be really nice to add more people to the family, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And if you guys are looking for more family-friendly live streams, head on over to theliveplace.com. Link will be in the description below. The Live Place is sort of a website that features a bunch of different Disney and non-Disney live streams, as well as myself and Resort TV 1, if you guys have heard of them. Really great channel. And yeah, you can do !Discord if you guys are watching live, !Patreon, as well as !Donate anytime in the chat to be linked to some of the important links that may or may not be in the description already. But if you'd like to be wished a happy birthday on stream, submit your name and date, birthday, using the form down below, or you can do !Birthday. And this week, there's only one birthday this week, and I don't know if you guys have heard of this, the specific person whose birthday is this week. His name is Matterhorn Matt, and his birthday's on the 23rd. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out.
Matt is turning 13, you guys.
I know. I'm very excited to finally hit the teens. I can finally have my quinceañera planned up for this year. Wait, that's not 13. That's 15.
15.
Ooh. Yeah, not sure if you guys have heard of Matterhorn Matt. He's a pretty lesser known guy. Leonardo said his birthday was yesterday. Yesterday being April 19th, Friday. So happy birthday to Leonardus, who is in chat today. And big shout out to everybody else whose birthday it is that they didn't get a chance to submit using our birthday forum. Like I said, you can do !Birthday, or the link will be in the description below. And I've never said this on stream before, but I'll have a link down in the description for you guys to leave a review of this podcast on iTunes. I sort of went over to our iTunes page for Matterhorn Mondays and noticed that we only had maybe like 5 or 10 reviews. So yeah, it'd be nice to sort of accumulate some more, whether or not, be as honest as you'd like. I'm not saying they have to be positive reviews, but it'd be nice to have some feedback from you guys in the review section. And yeah, I think that's it when it comes to announcements this week. We do have Matt Hosts Ghost later on this episode. I don't think Alex will be around for that because we do have a time limit again, like we did last week, an hour and around 20 minutes is all we have today to get through today's topics. And we're gonna try to breeze through all these topics, you guys, because we do have a lot that we want to talk about today. But before we get into those topics, it is time for everybody's favorite segment of the show, Matt Snaps. And this is a plastic bottle peach tea Snapple, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and do the honors so you guys can all hear this lovely ASMR. There you go. And fun fact, real fact, number 1,467. The Planet 50... Oh, that's a weird name. The Planet 55... I'm just going to show it to you guys, because I cannot pronounce that name. It's like a space name. That planet is made of diamonds and would be worth around $26.9 non-million dollars. Non-nillion dollars. I've never heard that term before. I'm guessing that's more than $10. So, if you guys ever have a spaceship and you'd love to head out to this planet here that I can't pronounce, then more power to you. But I'm gonna go ahead and.
To be honest, what planet could Matt pronounce?
I mean, Earth, Uranus, Jupiter.
It's Uranus.
Is it Uranus? Oh, I missed that. I missed that part in the elementary school curriculum. I do remember specifically one of my teachers saying it's not pronounced Uranus, it's pronounced Uranus, and I'm like, that's no fun. I like the other one better. Anyways, we're gonna get right into this week's news from the Peak.
We now present to you news from the Peak.
For our first bit of news from the Peak, you guys, a new temporary sign has been installed over at Adventureland's entrance. I'm sure you all remember last week Alex and I reporting on the main sign for Adventureland being taken down for maintenance, for construction, to get rid of the wall on the right side of the entrance to Adventureland. Well, it's been replaced by a temporary sign, and I'm going to go ahead and switch to that sign. It's a cute little sign. It's just sort of, yeah, I guess it's just on the right side. It just says Adventureland. Yeah, it's a cute sign. I'd like to have that hung up in my room, maybe. So yeah, very interesting. The original sign that was taken down for the construction is said to return in some form. It's not going to be completely destroyed like I predicted last week. But for our second bit of Disney news from the Peak, the live-action The Little Mermaid film is set to begin production in spring of 2020, and all the links that I get this information from will be down in the description below, you guys. Production is slated for this film to begin in April of 2020, and I'm going to sort of go over. This website has got a lot of inside scoops. Whether or not they're true or not is yet to be seen, but they do report that Scuttle will not be a seagull, but instead a diving bird, so that he can be in the underwater scenes with Ariel, which is not a major mix-up of not a major change from the original film. But rumors state that the role of Ariel has been given to Zendaya, as well as Lady Gaga for Ursula, which I would not be opposed to at all. I feel like Lady Gaga would make an interesting Ursula. Not sure about Zendaya, though. I don't think she's the best actress. I feel like a lot of people have thrown around Ariana Grande for Ariel. I feel like she'd be a better fit. But yeah, more soulless cash grab movie, says T-Will. Yeah, but I'm not sure about this one. They are reporting that Lin-Manuel Miranda is set to team up with Alan Menken, who did the original score for The Little Mermaid, as well as Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and 2006 hit film The Shaggy Dog. So he's got quite the repertoire, you guys, as well as teamed up, like I said, with Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is a genius when it comes to musicals. So at least in that regard, I think we're going to be getting a good score from this film. Whether or not the acting and the story is on par with the original is yet to be seen. But I don't know. Little Mermaid's one of my favorite Renaissance films. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah. And for our last bit of Disney news from the Peak, Bob Iger has admitted that the Fox deal, Disney buying out Fox, was because of Disney Plus. Now, I'm about to sneeze currently. I can feel it, and it just went away. Yeah, this comes to us from whatsondisneyplus.com, a great website if you want to keep up with the news regarding Disney Plus. Bob Iger recently said in an interview, quote, "The opportunity to buy Fox first came up later that year. In fact, just a few months after the board approved us buying the majority share of BAMTech, which was done for one reason, to go into the direct-to-consumer business, Rupert Rupert and I sat down and talked about the transaction, and he continued to say, quote, "We would not have done that transaction had we not decided to go into this streaming direction, because if we hadn't, we wouldn't have been looking at that business. We would have been looking at that business and through a traditional lens. Quote, oh, we're buying TV channels, we're buying more movie-making capability, etc." And then he continues to say, quote, "By the time the acquisition opportunity came up and we knew we were going in this space, we evaluated what we were buying through the lens of, quote, wow, what could National Geographic mean to us? What could it mean having access to Fox's library, not to monetize it through traditional means, but to do it through streaming?" Bam! I mean, the light bulb went off, unquote, from Mr. Bobby Iger himself. So, yeah, so that's sort of confirmed straight from Iger himself that Disney did buy Fox directly because of the Disney Plus streaming service. And that wraps up this week's news from the Peak. And on that note, we would like to move on to our still unnamed segment. Alex updates us from Disneyland. So we do have some video clips to play that Alex took this last Friday in Disneyland. But Alex, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Take what away?
Do you have any updates you'd like to give us from Disneyland, or would you just like me to play the clips for everybody?
Yeah. I don't remember what I filmed. Let me hold on.
Okay.
I have to figure out what I filmed. Where did I put it?
Adventureland Alex, says Nate Rodriguez. Historian reports. I think those are the only two name suggestions we've gotten. And I did forget to mention this at the beginning of the stream. I apologize if I do turn on the fan in the background, because it is the temperature is starting to rise up down here in New Mexico. And, my closet, of course. My fan's not on, actually. I should probably turn that on at some point during the stream. But yeah, I do apologize if I turn on this fan and it gives a lot of background noise. But Alex.
Okay. So the first thing we're going to start off with is the Tomorrowland construction happening right now. And you can play the clip after I tell people some interesting news. Wait, or maybe you should play the clip first. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Why don't you play the Tomorrowland Pizza Planet clip first, and then I'll explain afterwards some additional information I learned about it.
Alrighty, let me get this queued up. Okay, here we go.
All right, everybody, we are in Tomorrowland looking at the construction going on. It's probably hard to see, but there's a big wall of construction walls in front of Space Mountain. I think they're repainting the planters and stuff in front of the Path of the Jedi attraction. But over here, if you look over here, this is Pizza Planet, formerly known as Pizza Port. And it is also behind tarps and construction walls. They are repainting it, hopefully into a better color scheme for the main facade. But over here, this is where the rocket is. So that tower is for the rocket, the 1/3 scale replica of the TWA Moonliner rocket that used to sit here in Tomorrowland, approximately right where we're standing. So that was just really cool. But that's just a little construction update for you, and then we'll go over this way to check out the construction update on Autopia's area.
Okay, so basically, what's going on in front of Space Mountain is more than just a repaint job. Basically, they're going to be creating a central fast pass area for Tomorrowland. And so it's exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be a place where you could get fast passes for every fast pass ride in Tomorrowland at just that one location, instead of having to go to each individual ride and get your own fast pass, which saves a lot of walking. And actually, it's pretty funny because I think like about a year ago, I started thinking of ideas like that, because I was like, wait, why don't we have like central areas where you can get fast passes for whatever rides that you want without having to go to each and every ride? And and do all that walking, and it just becomes hectic and crazy and whatever. So anyway, that is apparently what they're going to be doing, and I think that's pretty cool. So as for the Pizza Planet / Pizza Port renovation, that I also assumed was just a repaint job, but apparently it's going to be a little bit more than that. It's going to be permanently Pizza Planet. And kind of like how Pinocchio's village house underwent a temporary retheme to Red Rose Tavern, and then now all of a sudden it's permanently Red Rose Tavern. So that's what's happening to Pizza Port. It's becoming Pizza Planet, and what I'm hoping is that they're going to create a much better, more awesome interior retheme, instead of just keeping the junk that they hung from the ceiling. So so hopefully that's what it is. And as I recall, in the movie, the Toy Story movie, they had a big rocket out front, didn't they?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen Toy Story, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Isn't that weird? How it was like they had this big rocket out front in the movie, and then like it just so happens that Pizza Port at Disneyland had that as well. It's just like, oh, amazing. Okay, so Caleb, they are actually going to keep the rocket. I'm almost like 100% certain, because they would not put scaffolding around it if they were just going to rip it out of the ground. Believe me. They would just like grab a big crane and then just rip it out of the... So no, it's just going to stay. So that's what's going on in Tomorrowland for that. And now if you go to the Autopia video, that one's actually self-explanatory, so I don't need to comment on that. So go ahead and play them the Autopia video.
Alrighty.
All right, we are over by Autopia, and you can see that they have actually downsized the planter here. I knew that they were going to do that because there was some hinting that they were going to actually downsize this planter in order to create more space for stroller parking. So it's really cool. Oh wow, this is like a crushed glass. That's literally what it looks like to me, as like crushed glass. It's already really dirty. Wow. But anyway, it looks really nice. These look like little bushes of thyme. That's really cool. Thyme in Tomorrowland. Anywho, so, and then there's this little pathway here. Now, you might be wondering, what's this little pathway for? Why did they... I mean, there was no access behind these trees before. The walkway literally went up to this wall here, and this wall was just, there was a layer of dirt about knee high. But anyway, the reason is because when this area gets really full with strollers, they're going to need people to exit from Autopia and follow this wall and go out that way. But for now, there's not that many strollers here, so the area is just open. But yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. And we'll end with a beautiful view of the Matterhorn.
Okay, so yeah, that one was pretty self-explanatory. I think that what they did is actually a very good thing, because those strollers were making it really difficult for people to exit Autopia. It was just mayhem. So yeah, that's one of those smaller projects. Now let me see what the next thing is. We'll talk about okay, Matt, if you play the Main Street video.
Alrighty, let's see.
Well, folks, good morning. We are at Disneyland again, and we're going to do a quick construction update. So, over here by the entrance to Frontierland, they have put up all these walls. I'm guessing they're also going to be dropping the curbs along that wall as well, so that way people don't trip and fall as they try to cross the street. So, and then as you can see right over here, there's more construction walls for work they're doing on downsizing the planter over by where the old guest relations info kiosk was. as well as probably dropping some of the curbs along there too.
Oh, was that the end of the video?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of work going on around Main Street this past year so far, just literally getting rid of all those curbs that are problem areas. Which is like hilarious because when I was a kid, people used to watch where they were going. Anyway, so so that's that, and then let's get to the part that everybody wants to see. So Matt, if you go ahead and play the Adventureland entrance video.
Now this is a sight I've never seen before. They have completely removed the old Adventureland sign. It's just gone, and in its place they've put this temporary sign up right here to let people know they're entering Adventureland. And another really interesting thing is that they've removed the little wall that they had there, and so that's gone as well. So pretty soon we'll probably be getting the new Adventureland entrance marquee. There's some concrete patches where the support stanchions used to be. It's just so weird. And there's a little box right there where part of the other support stanchions were. It's just so weird to like see the Adventureland sign gone. But anyway, there's some rumor that they're going to keep the original sign and just kind of integrate it into the new marquee, but we'll see what they do.
Okay, so that one was pretty cool. What was really weird about it was like, I felt like since they took that whole marquee down, the walkway felt narrower. I don't know why. It was just so weird because as I walked through it, I'm like, why does this feel narrower? Even though it should have technically felt wider and more open, but it felt narrower. It made the entrance seem smaller than it really was. So that was just interesting. So,
you know, before we move on, I would like to say I don't mind the entrance without the marquee. I think it looks kind of neat without having that big sign there. I could be the only one that thinks that. I know Alex is going to disagree, but yeah, I don't know. That's just something I felt like I had to point out. But anyways, Alex,
you just gave me an aneurysm. Okay, that was just uncalled for, Matt. Uncalled for. I think it's wonderful that the original lands to the park have like their own type of marquees and stuff, especially Frontierland and Adventureland. So you are on my bad list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay. So there's one last video for us to show you, and Matt, you know what that one is, right?
Yes, I 100% do. I think.
Okay, so go ahead and
I'll figure it out.
It's the one without
video.
a name.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought you. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and play that clip for you guys.
Okay, folks. So you can see they've ripped up some of the concrete. They're going to be installing the new pathway and stuff leading from the new parking structures. This is going to be really cool.
Oh, I was asking Alex, how did you ask the monorail guy to stop right there, or was it just a coincidence that the monorail was stopped?
No, the monorail pilot was Freddie, and I asked him to stop the monorail so I could.
Okay.
No.
Oh.
No. Okay.
You
the monorail pilot. The monorail pilot was. The monorail pilot was Freddie. However, we were loading guests at the Downtown Disney station.
Oh, I see.
So we weren't. Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't quite picture. I couldn't quite picture where this was in my head, but I see now.
So I'm guessing you also don't know what that construction was, judging by the view. So basically that is okay. Everybody's been expecting them to build the bridge that goes from the parking structure, the new parking structure, to Downtown Disney, and even Dave from Fresh Baked has been monitoring the progress of the parking lot, the downtown Disney parking lot, to see where the new pathway is gonna go in order to do this. So anyway, I was riding the monorail, getting footage for a future history episode on my channel called Disneyland History Today, and feel free to check that out. Anyway, and so I was riding the monorail, and while we were waiting at downtown Disney Station, I looked out the window, and there was them. The construction workers had ripped out the asphalt in a certain areas, which I'm assuming will probably be the new pathway. And that video shows that the asphalt was ripped out on the far east side of the parking lot. So it's going to follow the edge, I think. I'm just going to I'm just going to add that, okay? All right. So you go ahead, Matt.
Well, that wraps up our segment of what were the names you guys suggested? Adventureland Alex Historian Reports. I think you guys can do a little bit better than those names. So I'm
mean.
Yeah, I'm challenging you guys to help us come up with a good name for this segment. I guess we'll go with Alex's updates for now. That concludes this week's segment of Alex's updates from the park. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, all of these clips will be featured in Alex's next vlog that he filmed on Friday. So be sure to subscribe to Alex. His YouTube channel link is in the description below. And now we can get into our main topics. And whoa, that's not the screen I wanted to switch to. There we go. That's much better. I apologize for that gruesome image that you guys had to see. But
oh my God.
Alex in the Parks, that's a good name, Steve. That's the best one we've had so far. Alex in the Parks. Let me write that down really quick. Alex in the Parks. Thank you, Steve. The wrinkle of Bob. I apologize for you guys having to see that gruesome scene. But anyways, we're going to be getting into our main topics for today. Let's see, we just decided to sort of group together all of the Galaxy's Edge news and rumors and sort of breeze through these as fast as possible, because we do have more main topics after this that I'm dying to get into. Like I said, we're gonna be talking about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway after this, and as well as the controversial rumor that came up just this last week of Disney removing the crow scene from the Dumbo film for Disney Plus. But for now, let's talk about Galaxy's Edge. Our first bit of news comes to us from WDW News Today. Roaming droids in Galaxy's Edge, as well as a large majority of the street performers in Galaxy's Edge, will not be available when the land first opens on the 31st, and that Disney is deciding to wait and see how the crowds manage before throwing in any of the live entertainment into the land. Now, in my opinion, I feel like this is a very great idea, since opening weeks of the land will most definitely be packed to the brim with people, and throwing in all these live entertainment droids and performers into the mix will probably just add to that. I do feel like it's smart for them to wait until the crowds die down just a little bit, perhaps after the June 29th? When the soft opening period ends for Galaxy's Edge, then they might eventually decide to put in these droids and live performers. But Alex, what is your opinion on Disney's roaming droids not being available when the land first opens?
My opinion is that you're wrong. Okay. The article, if you had read the full thing, which I don't think you did, said that they didn't expect the droids to actually appear until... Oh, wait. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I might be thinking of another article that you're going to be talking about in a minute. Okay, well, anywho, here's my personal opinion, despite what the articles say. So, as soon as Disney first even announced they were going to have roaming droids, back when they were testing out that one droid in Tomorrowland, I was saying that it's just not going to happen. I mean, the thing is like, yeah, when you have like Push the trash can, or you have like R2D2 roaming around Tomorrowland, that's one thing, because half of Tomorrowland is dead. So it's like, it's really, Tomorrowland is not all that packed in certain areas, and so it's easy to have these droids roaming around. But we're talking about Galaxy's Edge, the land that will be more packed per square foot than the rest of Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be like that for at least 10 years until things like dull down. I mean, have you guys seen what Cars Land still looks like, on a weekday in this year? And it's been 7 years since Cars Land opened. And yet that's just Cars. Now imagine, Galaxy's Edge being as busy as it is. I don't doubt that the entertainment department's going to want to bring out those droids, but every day that ticks by, they're going to say, oh, too busy today. Oh, too busy today. And then next thing you know, we're never going to see those droids. And even if they do, the one droid that they brought out was very ugly. I do not want to see that droid. That looked awful. That did not. I mean, can you guys honestly tell me that looked like a Star Wars droid to you? Because that looked like a droid from like 1967 or something. That was a random year that I chose, but it happened to be the year of the new Tomorrowland project. So that was not. That was just coincidental. But yes, it looked like some kind of like droid out of the 60s, like, like Danger, Will Robinson's. It's just like not. Just did not look at all like a Star Wars droid. And I think they could do better. And I think they will do better. I think they're going to have types of R2 units and types of BB units and stuff like that. But yeah, so we're not going to see droids for years. I'm predicting at least 5 years.
I can see that, I do partially agree, because I do agree Galaxy's Edge will be packed. I don't know. I guess it all depends on how many people Disney limits into the land itself, because they could always limit the land to make sure that it's not too packed. That way they'll have room for the droids. But then again, I don't think Disney's gonna want to do that. I feel like they're gonna want to have as many people possible in the land as they can. Sell more merchandise per hour, buy more drinks, get more people drunk in the cantina. But I can definitely see Disney holding out on these droids for longer than this article anticipates. But segueing into our second bit of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge news, transitioning to Oga's Cantina. Perfect transition. Again, from WDW News today, they report that Oga's Cantina will only serve drinks on opening, no food, and that the food will debut with Rise of the Resistance as part of the Phase 2 opening of the land. They also report that there will be a 1 hour time limit to stay inside the bar, with seating to be limited to the bar stools and only 5 booths, and that the whole building will fit approximately 150 people. So that's very interesting. We were a while back, Alex and Jeremy and I believe, were all sort of predicting how Disney would regulate the alcohol consumption in Oga's Cantina. Whether or not it'd be like wristbands that they give them, because, it's going to be very hard to track how long a certain individual is in there drinking their blue milk or their Goopa Goopas. I don't remember the names of the drinks. Yeah, so you'll only have an hour to stay inside Oga's Cantina while you even get your food as well, once the food debuts later on in the year. It's very interesting. Alex, what are your thoughts on Oga's Cantina being, I guess being delayed.
Yeah, it just it seems to me more of the problems are coming to light. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys like really think about all the things that Disney has been telling us, like, oh, you're not going to see this, you're not going to see that when Galaxy's Edge opens. And a lot of it has to do, like, not just because Galaxy's Edge is opening a month early, but because they're saying that these things that you're not going to see will probably not roll out till phase 2 or after.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing, is like, they haven't set a date for phase 2. And the reason why they haven't set a date for phase 2 is because the problems are so bad that they don't know when they're going to fix them. It's like, it's crazy. Like Rise of the Resistance, they're like, oh, it'll be ready by the end of the year. But that is a big lie. They don't know when it's going to be done. I mean, I'm purely speculating, but based off of what I know about Disney is that lately they've been really lazy when it comes to like big land projects and things like that, because they get impatient when they realize that there's a ton of issues, and they want to open the new areas and the new rides before everything is completed, and then they just say, oh, we'll fix the bugs when we get to it. It's just like, so Oga's Cantina is one of those things, along with Rise of the Resistance, the droids, and probably several other things that they're going to announce in the next month or so, that we're probably not going to see, such as probably walk around characters. Like, aren't there supposed to be like walk around characters that will interact with you and know whether or not you're like part of the Resistance and stuff like that? I'm pretty sure that the technology behind that is probably not going to be ready for that yet, or even the budget for it is probably not going to be ready for that yet. So, I mean, just keep your eyes open for more things that Disney is saying we will not see at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, I believe Dave from Fresh Baked did say, I don't know if he was speculating or not, but he did say that Galaxy's Edge will only have walk-around stormtroopers, since, the droids and the live entertainment won't be debuting with the land itself. So, I don't know.
Wait, there's going to be no live entertainment?
Yeah, that's what I said for the first bit of Galaxy's Edge news as well. No droids and the walk-around characters, like you said.
Oh, right. I heard the droid part, but I didn't hear the walk-around. Oh. My God, I am just really terrible today. I'm forgetting everything.
What was I? Oh, well, I was going to say, it's still 6 weeks until Galaxy's Edge opens, and there's still no way of making a reservation to get into the land. And I find that really sketch, you guys. I've been saying this for the past few weeks, once Disney officially announced that you were going to have, quote unquote, that you're going to have a reservation to get into the land, because we still don't know if there's going to be a standby line or not. Back when they announced that you were going to need a reservation, and they didn't specifically say how you were going to make that reservation, and now 6 weeks until the land opens, we still don't know. I find that really sketch. I don't know. Something's not sitting right with me when it comes to that. I could be proven wrong. Disney could come out, sometime this week or even tomorrow on Easter to debut their fancy new website to help get a reservation to get into Galaxy's Edge. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But moving on to our third Galaxy's Edge bit of rumor / news. We do have one more after this. Very short one, though. This comes to us from a well-known insider on the WDW Magic forums. He repeats that the main issue with Rise of the Resistance is Wi-Fi connectivity, which is what we've been hearing for a few weeks now. He says when the signal is lost for more than 300 milliseconds, all the cars shut down due to safety. The safety standards that they put into place. And he also suggests that the issue has been solved and that the ride is now working in the heavy, quote-unquote, test and adjust phase. and that he expects a release or an opening date for around September for Disneyland and December for Walt Disney World in the Hollywood Studios. So,
wait a minute, Matt. You knew about this post before the show happened, and you let me go on saying that they don't know when the problems will be fixed.
Anyways, moving on to our well, again, this is a rumor. I tend to not believe these posts on any of these, mice chat forums, WDW magic. But this was provided to me by T-Will. So I do trust T-Will when he provides us with information like this. He's one of our more reputable. There we go. Sources when it comes to these things. So yeah. So this insider does suggest that September for Disneyland and December for Hollywood Studios is when we can expect Rise of the Resistance to be open, which I hope is true. I was really starting to lose out hope that this ride would even open at all in 2019. And I know it's barely April. We still got a long ways to go till 2020. But, that's how it was seeming, at least from all the news that we've been hearing, all the rumors that we've been hearing from all these insiders and cast members. Reputable. Is that how it's pronounced? Reputable. I think it is.
Yes, you got that right.
Yes! I'm on a roll today, you guys. And for our last bit of Star Wars news, this comes to us from Disneyland News Today, not WDW News Today, Disneyland News Today. They do report that every single cast member, in Disneyland at least, will be blocked out to the entire summer opening of Galaxy's Edge, all the way from May 16th to August 30th. Now, they will still be able to get into California Adventure, so, that's got to be a plus, right? But Alex, what are your thoughts on every single, it's not necessarily every single cast member, but cast members will be blocked out from May 16th to August 30th this summer?
So that is a really long time for cast members to be blocked out. That is ridiculous. What is that like? That's almost 4 months worth of days of being blocked out at Disneyland. And granted, they'll have some access to Disney California Adventure, but when I started at Disney in 2009, there were blockout dates, but when they were for Halloween Day, they were for Christmas Day and for New Year's Eve. But there wasn't very many, and I think even during summer there was probably a few weeks where it was blocked out, but that it totaled up to maybe a month worth of blockout dates. And then recently what they've been doing to cast members is they've been blocking them out on 3-day weekends on every month. Every single month their 3-day weekends are blocked out. That I've never seen before. And then and then they've been slowly blocking them out on everything when it comes to any type of holiday or whatever. And it's all, of course, because Disneyland is becoming more and more popular, and it's getting busier and busier. As we all know, there hasn't been a single down season for the park since Cars Land opened. Ever since then, it's just been crazy busy. But and it's gonna get worse, people. And honestly, I feel bad for the cast members, because being able to go to the park with their family and friends and whatever is one of those things that they look forward to as being a cast member. And there's gonna be a day where that comes that there's only going to be a few days out of every month that a cast member is going to be able to actually visit the park. And let me add, when I first started at Disney, the blackout dates only applied to cast members who planned to sign in their friends and family. If you just wanted to go to the park by yourself, you were allowed in 365 days out of the year. Okay. You could just visit the park by yourself 365 days out of the year. Nowadays, that is not the case. You are blocked out even by yourself for all the blockout dates throughout the year that they set. So that is sad. That is really sad. I remember because I wanted to visit the park one day on New Year's Eve just to see what was going on because I had a shift later on that night, and I was able to sign myself in. But that nowadays that's impossible. It just will not happen.
That is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because I didn't know that. I'd love to hear, all the current cast members. I know we do have a Mark here, who is a current cast member. He says he's an annual pass holder, so he can sort of snake around these blackouts for his signing himself in as a cast member. But I'd love to hear from all the other cast members who were, looking forward to experiencing Galaxy's Edge and I guess just Disneyland in general during the summer. I mean, you guys still can go to California Adventure, so it's not 100% lost. I say that sarcastically. Didn't come across as sarcastic, but anyways, that moves us on to our second main topic that I'm very excited to talk about. Before we get into this, I would like to point out, I guess I should say this article comes to us from boardwalktimes.net. They do say this is an exclusive piece of news that only they have. So, generally, we're treating this as a rumor because we don't necessarily know who their insiders are, whether or not they're reliable or not. But they do say, I guess they do report in their exclusive article, that Disney Plus will be doing away with the crow scene from Dumbo, as well as not featuring the film Song of the South on their Disney Plus streaming service. Now, as many of you may or may not know, I'm a big lover of the original 1941 Dumbo film. I wore this specific shirt specifically for this topic, so I can help
You're
represent.
Only a recent fan of that movie.
Yeah, only a recent fan of that movie. Yeah, I did only barely see this movie a couple months ago, but I've grown to love it as it's become up there, my top 2 favorite Disney movies of all time. But yeah, very recent. I did barely just see this film. But back to what I was saying. I'm a big lover of the original 1941 film, as well as a big believer in the message of the film. So I would like to point out that my main sort of problem with this rumor / article will have to do more with the Dumbo portion of the Dumbo portion of this rumor, not necessarily the Song of the South portion, which isn't a great movie to begin with. So, anyways, I did send out a very lengthy tweet this past week regarding this topic, and I'd sort of like to paraphrase that because the tweet really does sum up my whole opinion about this. So I'm going to be quoting directly from the tweet that I sent. Basically, the tweets that I sent went along the lines of how these films should be preserved, not censored, especially on Disney's own streaming service, and that I'm extremely disappointed in the company for doing this, if it is indeed true, because this is a rumor after all. If this is true, getting rid of the scene and pretending it doesn't exist won't help anything. As well as the crow scene is integral to the plot of the original 1941 Dumbo film. You can't cut just directly from the pink elephant segment to the circus top finale when Dumbo flies without his feather, because if you guys have not seen the original Dumbo film, the scene with the crows is when Dumbo first learns to fly. The crows give him the quote-unquote magic feather. After the pink elephant segment, they end up, Dumbo and Timothy Mouse end up in a tree. They wonder how they got in the tree. Timothy suggests that Dumbo flew up there, and then the crows sort of and Timothy Mouse help him learn to fly with the magic feather, of course. And then after that, it goes to the circus top finale where Dumbo learns that he doesn't need the feather to fly. But if you cut directly from the pink elephants sequence to that finale, it just cuts off the entire the basically like the almost climax of the film where Dumbo learns how to fly. And it's just very baffling to me if this rumor is indeed true. If this is also true, that means they'd have to cut out literally half of Peter Pan as well, right? Because, in my opinion, the portrayal of the natives in the film, Peter Pan, is far worse than the very short crow sequence, in my opinion. Just goes to show how backwards their thinking is. We have to remember history to make sure it doesn't repeat itself. And preserving these beautiful works of art is a great way to do that. But, I guess Disney Plus is more about making money than preserving the company's history. Very ashamed if this rumor is indeed true. And I would like to point out that Jeremy and I will be getting more into detail about the crow sequence when we reach Dumbo in our journey through animation series, which we just finished recording the first episode on Snow White, so expect that very soon. But Alex, I'd love to hear your opinion on this rumor from Boardwalk Times.
So, the rumor actually seems pretty... It seems pretty realistic, actually. It seems like something that Disney seems like something that Disney would consider, because they are trying to polish up their image, especially the way that their older films make them look nowadays. Especially a movie as popular as Dumbo, having that scene in it is pretty awkward, and so
yeah.
I think my opinion has always been that the movies that Disney has made, and especially the cartoons that they have made that feature these racially insensitive materials and content, they need to be preserved, but maybe not for the reason of entertainment, but perhaps education. I think I think there should be... Okay, so I have an old DVD of Mickey Mouse cartoons, and on it the movie reviewer guy, for Leonard Maltin.
Leonard Maltin, yeah. He has these little segments between each cartoon that explains what is wrong with the cartoon and why we should try to understand it and see it for what it is, which is a product of its time. And so I think that's very interesting because not only does it explain what's wrong with the content you're viewing and why it's wrong, but the fact that this was something that we lived with, this was something that seemed normal, and maybe if we learn from it, we can avoid these types of things in the future, especially in a time like right now where a lot of racial things are coming back to light. There's a lot of prejudice and racism that's happening nowadays, and so when you try to lock the past away and throw it away and pretend it never happened, when the past eventually repeats itself, it's going to be wholly new, and people will not know what to do with it or how to recognize things that are wrong. So anyway, so what do I think Disney should do? I think that for the Disney Plus, they should still feature these movies, but they should have disclaimers before the movie or even after the movie and stuff like that, or even in the description of the movie. And have some kind of explanation for what was going on, because a lot of people would mistake what they see in Song of the South as just blunt racism.
that's what people would see. And that's understandable. When you first see the movie and without having any context, that's what it appears like. So I would not blame anybody for thinking that. However, if you did some research on the movie and you understood like what happened, and why the movie was made the way it was, you would realize that there's a lot more to the story than meets the eye. It's not necessarily blunt racism. While it is racial insensitivity, racism and racial insensitivity was not the same thing back then. And so for instance, I forget the actor's name, but the actor that played Uncle Remus in Song of the South, he was not allowed by the state of Georgia to actually attend the premiere of the movie.
Wow, really?
Yes, and he was obviously like the freaking main character of the movie, and because of the Jim Crow laws, we're just talking about Jim Crow. Because of the Jim Crow laws, he was not allowed to attend the premiere of the movie, and so that's as much as most people know about it. But I read something once where, when Walt Disney realized that he wasn't allowed to be there, Walt had actually gotten very emotional about it and left the room and stuff like that. And so it was just like, Walt Disney was not racist. He just didn't know certain things about the world and didn't know how people would react to certain things, especially in the future. This was 1946. He did not know that in the year 2019, people would be like, "Oh, I hate this movie. Why are we watching it?" That, I might be ranting, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. And I did bring this image that someone tweeted to me up on screen of the disclaimer that Warner Brothers does put in front of, I believe, in front of their Looney Tunes cartoons. I could be wrong. I do know that they put it in front of some of their cartoons, and I like to read it. The disclaimer says, "The cartoons you are about to see are products of their time. They may depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in American society. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. While the following does not represent the Warner Brothers view of today's society, these cartoons are being presented as they were originally created, because to do otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed." And I feel like that's a really
beautiful.
Yeah, that is a really great way of sort of addressing this sort of thing. And it just baffles me that if this rumor is indeed true, which Alex said, and I do agree that this does seem like something Disney would do, it's just a big blow to the company, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm very disappointed in them if this does indeed prove to be true. And so,
in my opinion, it only makes the company look worse when they try to pretend that this stuff didn't happen.
Exactly, yeah. And someone did point out that in the film Fantasia, they did edit out a sequence with the centaurs that was very, very racially insensitive as well. I'm sure you can find clips of that on YouTube, but I feel like that's completely different from editing out barely even a character in Fantasia to editing out as a sequence in Dumbo that is 100% integral to the plot of the film. Because, you can do away with that racially, insensitive centaur character in Fantasia, because it's not necessary to the plot of the film. But, with this, it is. And like I said, my main quarrels with this rumor are going to be with Dumbo, because I'm not a big fan of Song of the South, but I do feel strongly that Song of the South should also be featured in some capacity on the Disney Plus streaming service, whether or not it be with like Alex said, and Jeremy actually suggested this as well on the Discord, having Leonard Maltin do a sort of prelude intro to each of these films that does feature these sort of racial prejudices. Explaining, that they were products of their time, and that, just basically the exact same thing that I just showed you that Warner Brothers does for their old cartoons. And it's very backwards. I'm very, I guess not excited. I don't know how else to phrase this. I'm very excited to see how this turns out once Disney Plus does get released. I guess we'll find out whether or not this rumor is true, because I could, you could probably guess that Song of the South wasn't going to be on Disney Plus from the very beginning. But, cutting the crow scene from Dumbo, I feel like is taking it way too far. Because, like I said, if they do that, they're going to have to cut the Siamese cat scene from Lady and the Tramp, which is also very, racially insensitive as well.
That was pretty bad. I'll have to admit. I was totally taken by surprise. Like, I was,
yeah,
this is a funny story. I was, I saw the movie was on, like, I think it was on Netflix or something, and I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and so I was like, oh my gosh, like, this, they have the movie on there. I wanted to see it, so I started watching the movie, and when that scene came on, I was taken, like, I was so surprised.
Yeah.
I, like, spit out my soda. I was like, what? I did not expect that. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I've watched Lady and the Tramp for the first time a few months ago, and I was the same way. I knew that scene existed, but I had never seen it, before, up until that point, and I was, like, thinking, holy cow, this is crazy. How could they have put this in the movie? But, if, like I said, if they remove the crow scene from Dumbo, they're going to have to remove the Siamese cat scene from Lady and the Tramp. And like I said, even literally half of the movie from Peter Pan with, its portrayal of the Native Americans, which I feel, like I said, is far worse than the crow sequence from Dumbo, in my opinion. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this rumor. I really would. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this rumor. I tweeted out this article along with my opinion, and we got a lot of great debate in my Twitter notifications. So it's nice to have the conversation sparked and going. Now, it's nice to see that a lot of people are aware of this rumor, and that a lot of people are on our side, I guess. I don't want to make this about like our side, their side. But it's nice to see everybody's differing of opinions of this. While I should say that most of the Twitter replies that I got were in favor of keeping the crow sequence from Dumbo and featuring Song of the South in some capacity on Disney Plus. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this in the comments down below. Get the conversation flowing. And I'll be reading the comments, and we'll keep track. I really do want to keep track of this rumor. If it does end up going any farther than, just this one article, because you never know, Disney could be seeing the backlash from this and decide to change their minds if this was, a true thing that they were going to be doing. So we'll see. Once Disney Plus gets released in September, I believe, whenever it gets released. I guess we'll get, confirmation on whether or not this rumor is true or not. But anyways, moving on to some interesting news, I guess. When was this? This was yesterday, I believe. Disney Parks blog, yesterday as in Friday the 19th. The Disney Parks blog announced that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway will be coming to Toontown. This was rumored for a while. If you guys have been listening to the podcast, you'll know that we've reported on Toontown, or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway coming to either Toontown or the Hollywood backlot in California Adventure. And this announcement also does bring an update to the version coming to Hollywood Studios, saying that the opening has been pushed back to spring of 2020 instead of the end of 2019. Which is very interesting. I still find it very interesting that we have not received any other announcements about the ride itself, any footage, any new images. We only have maybe like 3 or 4 pieces of concept art in that one, I believe, clip of the technology that they're using for this ride. Nothing new since that. Yes. I'm trying to. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
They're probably gonna show more details during the D23 event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the most likely reason that we haven't seen anything about this ride. But it does beg the question: why announce this on a Friday of all days? Why not just wait until that D23 in August to announce that this ride is coming to Disneyland, and then you can showcase, all the new footage that you have of the ride. Why?
Because the sooner they announce that it's coming to Toontown, the more merchandise they'll sell at Gag Factory before it closes.
Ooh. I mean, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. I wouldn't put it past them for doing that, but yeah, like Alex said, the entrance to the ride will be placed where the Gag Factory currently sits, and Roger Rabbit fans can rejoice because that ride is 100% safe for the time being. I do suspect that they will not remove Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin because it is a lovely dark ride, and replacing that ride with this new Runaway Railway attraction would not be the best idea, in my opinion. Adds capacity to the land if they have both. Adds capacity to the park as a whole. And yeah, with this news, Toontown does seem to be safe from any kind of expansion, whether that be expansion from Galaxy's Edge or from a Fantasyland expansion. So for all you hardcore Toontown fans out there, you should be happy because Toontown survived. Toontown has survived, you guys. Toontown's here to stay, at least for the upcoming future, for the foreseeable future.
You know what, though? Like, I've been saying for a long time that Toontown just sucks. I hate it,
Mm-hmm.
But I will give you this. It's earned some respect. I mean, it has survived all these years without getting bulldozed when it could have easily been destroyed, at least a decade ago, if not more.
Yeah.
For all the new ideas that Disney's been coming up with for the park that have never replaced Toontown.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how many rides and things we close at Toontown, it still goes on living.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the now with the Runaway Railway, I have such a problem saying that. On my live stream yesterday.
It's not a very good name.
Did you see my live stream yesterday? I
No,
could
I did
not
not.
pronounce the name. I could not do it. With the Runaway Railway coming to Toontown, I will now have a reason to go there.
Yeah.
And I usually don't. I don't usually ride Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin. I mean, it's not a bad ride. I don't bother waiting for it. But yeah, now I have a reason to go there. So it's just like, wow, But the other weird thing I wanted to mention, Matt, is if it goes where they say it's going to go and where the ride show building is going to be, where they say it's going to be, they say it's going to be, it seems that they will be kind of landlocking the area of Toontown for good. I mean, because technically, if they wanted to expand Disneyland further north of Toontown into the backstage area, they would probably be able to create like a new gate area. Like right next to Minnie's house is a big backstage gate, and they could have just turned that into a new pathway into another land, Disneyland. But if they build Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway there'll be no way to get around that attraction. It's gonna lock it in place. And with Galaxy's Edge where it is, it's gonna be difficult to build anything north of that either. Mm-hmm. So it just seems like, wow, like what is Disneyland going to be able to expand further north that way? I mean, Disney can always pay for a more expensive bulldoze job, but, nevertheless.
Yeah, it is an interesting point. And I believe this area right here is where it's rumored for the attraction to go. This is a huge area right here. And yeah, that does make it for an interesting point, because if you do put this ride here, you cannot expand further up this way from Disneyland. You'd have to either... I mean, yeah, the only logical thinking is to, expand Galaxy's Edge farther up into this area up here. But then again, like you said, it'd be a tight squeeze. This isn't an updated map, so things could be out of what's the word I'm trying to word I'm looking for? Things are not updated on this map, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So these white buildings might not be here anymore. I don't know.
What are you talking about? They are there.
I mean, currently, are they still there? Currently, because this is.
Yeah, those were built for Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, were they? Okay. Well, I'm here thinking that there's some backstage. Anyways,
they are.
Okay. Well, yeah. So that does, cement
Matt,
Alex's point.
We have to turn you into a bigger Disney fan.
Yeah, so you can't expand any further up here unless, I can't think of any other way. Maybe they can go underground. That'd probably be too expensive. But
you know how cool that would be if Disney started building new lands underground just to save space?
Yeah. That would be awesome. And gosh, it's so hot in here. I turned on my fan. I'm sorry if you guys can hear the fan in the background. It is really hot in my closet. But anyways, No Channel here says that Chippendale's old ball pit could be removed to make room for a path. They might do that. Where is that at? That's up here. But then again, that's sort of a tight window right here. Tight little choke area from the fountain to get to Chippendale's treehouse. Realistically, you'd only use this area if you did that to expand Toontown even further, which I don't think they're going to do. Or they could maybe even link it to Galaxy's Edge. Probably not.
You know what? That would be a smart idea, though, to link it to Galaxy's Edge.
I think so, too. Yeah. I agree. You'd be able to... because, as it stands, Toontown is a dead end. So it'd be nice to have a way to get out of Toontown. Besides going...
Oh, they don't want you to leave. They don't want you to leave Toontown. They're even building more rides to keep you there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But for all you hardcore, fans of the Great Movie Ride, this has to sting a little bit. Disney closed Hollywood Studios' marquee attraction, the Great Movie Ride, for this. They're marking it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. They're marketing it as this, high tech, Mickey's first attraction with its own theme song, its own, very exciting attraction is what they're saying. Just to have it copied into Disneyland's worst land, that has to sting a little bit for you Great Movie Ride fans. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that, for all you, Hollywood Studios purists out there. However many of you there are. There's probably dozens of you. But T-Will did point out above that I forgot to mention. The reason the delay is happening with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in Hollywood Studios is because they're putting all of their manpower, all their resources into finishing Galaxy's Edge before they continue progress on Runaway Railway. So that's why it's delayed to spring of 2020. And T-Will also says that they didn't want to pay for a refurbishment of the Great Movie Ride, which is interesting because... from my perspective, I feel like it'd be cheaper to refurb the ride rather than gutting it, coming up with a concept for a completely new attraction. Granted, it'll be mostly screens, I believe. But wouldn't you think that it'd be cheaper to refurb it than to build a completely new ride from scratch? I could be wrong.
No, I don't think so. honestly... The Runaway Railway, I'm being so careful trying to pronounce that, it's probably super duper cheap. It's probably the cheapest rides Disney will ever build, because literally it's just screens and a trackless ride vehicle, and whereas Great Movie Ride uses a lot of show illusions and lots of painting. Excuse me, I just choked on something. A lot of painting. That's the ghost of the Great Movie Ride trying to kill me. So there's a lot of little sets to paint, and there's a lot of animatronic figures that need to be refurbished, which cost thousands upon thousands of dollars for each one, and stuff like that. And I just imagine that the railway idea is a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Well, when you put it that way, yeah, that does make sense. we're almost out of time, but I would like to bring up this one last sort of food for thought. Since Toontown closes for the fireworks, how is that gonna work with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway being this big breakout attraction that Disney's, marketing it to be? You'd think the guests would want access to that attraction while the park is open.
Well, guess what? Guess what I'm thinking? So I thought about that too, okay? And what I'm thinking is, you see, at Toontown, the Runaway Railway won't be open till 2022, which would give them
I
a
did
few
forget to mention
years,
that.
which would give them a few years to phase out fireworks shows at Disneyland. See, because with Galaxy's Edge being so popular, and with Toontown gonna be a lot more popular, and them wanting to keep it open longer, it would be unsafe to do fireworks shows backstage at Disneyland, and they can't move the fireworks launch area closer to Ball Road because that's a public road. So there's really nowhere else for them to move the fireworks show. They would just have to keep closing Toontown. And so my guess is that Disney is finally going to phase out large-scale fireworks. They may keep the smaller-scale fireworks that launch from the castle and stuff like that to accentuate a projection show. But other than that, I think fireworks are going to go away.
I think we touched on this in a past episode where we did discuss whether or not Disney was going to be phasing out the fireworks because of that new show, Mickey's Mix Magic. Is that what it's called?
Yep. And I guess for those of you who are watching that don't know that we talked about that, you'll have to watch all 84 episodes of Matterhorn Mondays to see which one we talk about.
Yeah, because I don't remember which episode it was. But yeah, we did discuss in that episode our sort of thoughts on whether or not Disney would be phasing out fireworks shows at Disneyland. Because Mickey's Mixed Magic is mainly a projection show with very rare. I haven't seen the show, so I don't know if it has fireworks at all. I believe it has some smaller pyrotechnics. I could be wrong though. I haven't seen it.
I think it has really small pyrotechnics.
I guess that is the only logical point, the only logical conclusion we can make from this announcement. So I don't know. I do love fireworks at Disneyland. They've been going on for however many years they've been going on. It's always nice to end your trip, your vacation, watching the fireworks. But I guess if Disney can come up with a good replacement for the fireworks, I don't think a lot of people would be mad.
Holographic fireworks.
Holographic fireworks, yeah. That'd be something. Or maybe drones. The drones can crash onto the
Explode
interstate.
in midair? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, we had the same idea. That was so weird.
Well, we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway coming to Toontown and what sort of implications that will have in the future coming to Disneyland. But I think...
Wait, Matt.
Yes.
I might have just a little bit more time to talk about one more thing.
Okay.
Did you see the recent DSNY newscast video?
About the Millennium Falcon attraction? Or about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway?
No. Well, I mean, yes, it had Mickey and Minnie's Runaway. But about where he talked about something quite cold coming to Disneyland.
Oh, about Frozen coming to Disneyland. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about that. Frozen. Here, let me get off this Google... Well, I guess we can keep Google Maps up in case we need it. I did not see the video, though, from DSMI Newscast, but I remember you sending me the message that he did talk about that in that episode. So, Alex, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so at the moment, I don't remember if he said it was a fact or if it was a really plausible rumor. But but I think he said something along the lines of Disney wanting to announce, probably during the D23 event this year, of a Frozen themed land coming to Fantasyland. And it has to do with the fact that, oh, was he speculating? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember what he said. I just remember like seeing the segment of the show and going, "No!" over my screaming. I didn't hear what he said. But yeah, even if it was speculation, I don't think that it's too implausible. I mean, I think that it's very, very possible that Disney may be considering a Frozen themed land for Disneyland, because there is so much space being underutilized north of Tomorrowland and even in Fantasyland itself, and Fantasyland becoming a tighter and tighter squeeze just to walk through. Stuff like that. And then with all these low capacity rides in Fantasyland as well, it's like people are probably like really wanting to see something new, exciting, high capacity, and honestly, a big project like creating a Frozen themed land would allow the accounting department of the company to give them a budget to also work around the surrounding lands.
Yeah.
Like Galaxy's Edge, for instance, part of spending money on Galaxy's Edge was Disney talking to the accounting department and getting them to want to fork over some separate cash for Project Stardust. So, things like big projects like that allow for the company as a whole to improve surrounding areas that will get people to and from the new lands or attractions that they're building. So back to what I was saying, it's possible it may be coming to Fantasyland. I mean, I think I think the possibility is probably like at least 65% out of 100. I don't really know if that's like a reasonable way to judge that, but you know what I'm saying. And yeah, as Carrie Soriano says, bye bye Autopia and Nemo. I mean, yeah, I honestly think that area is going to be that whole area is definitely something Disney is gonna wait, is going to
Oh my gosh.
oh great, Matt turns into me today and
he turns into the butcher.
Yeah, I turned into the butcherer today. My goodness. So yes, so I think that definitely that area of the park is prime for being redone and reworked. And honestly, I would rather see a Frozen themed land come to that corner of the park, because I was walking by Autopia the other day and I seriously almost passed out from the fumes. It was that bad. It was pretty bad. So yeah.
I do agree. I feel like it would be nice to have Frozen. I'm gonna rewatch Frozen at some point in the near future, because it's been years. I haven't seen Frozen since it came out, and I want to sort of refresh my mind on how I feel about it, so I can accurately describe, how I feel about it to you guys. But it would be nice to have. We've been saying this for I don't know how long on the show, that that area, the Finding Nemo submarine voyage area, and the Utopia area, the motorboat dock cruise area, is going to at some point be demolished and be replaced by something. I think at one point we were speculating Beauty and the Beast, or even Tomorrowland to expand up even further. But the most plausible plausible reasoning. What am I trying to say? The most plausible rumor to believe would be Frozen, because I do believe that they're building a Frozen land in Tokyo Disney Sea. I could be mistaken as well, and I did hear Dave from Fresh Baked say that he does expect with certainty that Frozen, and possibly Beauty and the Beast as well, would be coming to Disneyland in that area at some point in the future. Which is one of the, I don't know, Hong Kong. It could be Hong Kong. I think it was Hong Kong. Now that I think about it, Hong Kong. Also to Disneyland Paris, Walt Disney Studios Park. Yeah, as well. They're building a Frozen land there too. Lots of Frozen. Interesting. But yeah, in one of the more recent videos, Fresh Baked presents, that Dave said, the way he sort of structures these rumor videos when he when one of these announcements comes up, like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway coming to Disneyland, he sort of tries to see, I guess, the big picture. It's very strange. You'd have to watch the videos to understand, but he sort of links this release or news that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway coming to Toontown, sort of linking that Toontown is safe from any kind of Fantasyland expansion. That would mean that, you know, Fantasyland can't expand up into Toontown like most of us were thinking would happen, and that Fantasyland would have to expand out into the Submarine Voyage and Autopia area. So that's really now the only, you know, logical conclusion you can make from these announcements. But yeah, I don't know. Frozen, I need to rewatch the movie, I guess. I'm sure it'll be great, you know, immersive. I much prefer Beauty and the Beast over Frozen. I feel like you can do much more that would already match Fantasyland's aesthetic with Beauty and the Beast than you can with Frozen. You know, making like a giant ice castle would kind of seem out of place, I guess. Whereas Beauty and the Beast, you can make like a sort of village area with the Beauty and the Beast dark ride. I just feel like that would be more consistent with the theme, you know, that Tony Baxter set for the new Fantasyland area.
And before I go, because I do have to go, before I go, this is a message to Disney, if they're watching this Matterhorn Mondays streams, which happens on Saturdays if you'd like to join us live. I rode Pirates of the Caribbean yesterday, Disney, and the last Jack Sparrow, or actually all the Jack Sparrow animatronic in the ride were not looking so good. The Jack Sparrow animatronic in the barrel had black marks all over his face, over his shiny, sweaty-looking face. Okay, and the Jack Sparrow animatronic right before the up ramp back to the dock, his wig was backwards, and his mouth, his lips were like pulled back over his teeth, like he was like growling. It was just
scary replaced
looking.
by common, you know, modern Johnny Depp, is what you're saying.
What?
Anyways.
So Disney, please fix Jack Sparrow, because the last one was scary. I think people honestly were kind of really like surprised by that, because yes, his wig was backwards and it was lopsided. So my goodness gracious. And then Jack Sparrow with like the dirt and black marks all over his face was also freaky.
Well, Disney, you know. Like T-Will says, just remove Jack Sparrow. I feel like that would be much better than refurbing poor Jack. His lips, God, I can't even imagine. It's just modern Johnny Depp is what they replaced him with. I already made that joke, but Second Star's in the chat. It's been a while since we've seen him. Welcome. Hope you're having a great day. But yeah, I guess now it's time for Alex to say goodbye while we continue on.
Now it's time to say goodbye. So long to you and me. Oh, sorry, wrong person.
That's from.
Where'd you go?
What is that?
That's
for some reason
Mickey
I thought that
Mouse.
was Mr. Rogers. Yeah, I realized Mickey Mouse. I thought it was Mr. Rogers. Anyway.
All right, you guys. Time for me to leave and time for Matt to. What are you doing? The host ghost thing?
Yes, we're gonna get into that.
Alrighty. See you all later, and please check out.
Oh, poor Alex. Your mic cut out right as you said that.
What? What? What?
It was like this. Please check.
Please check out my channel. Like and subscribe. Watch my videos. Okay, I'm going now.
Much better. Everybody say bye, Alex.
Bye.
Bye. All right. And now, my friends. Yeah, Mr. Rogers. I don't know. Anyways. Nate was so kind. I'm sure you all remember Nate for writing that amazing Oink saga that we read a few months ago, and the other stories that he wrote after Oink. But he was so kind as to write a sequel to our Oink saga titled Revenge of Oink. And let's see. We do have a prologue, and he also sent along Chapter 1. I think we'll save Chapter 1 for next week. This week we'll just get into the prologue. I don't want this episode to run too long. But let me know if the fan in the back is distracting. I can turn it off. It's sort of cooled down in here at this point. But anyways, it is now time, you guys, for the long-awaited return for Matt Hosts Ghosts.
Welcome to Matt Hosts Ghosts.
And I don't think that's the scene that I... Oh, there we go. Much better. It was just like my mouse was the only thing on screen. Anyways, this is the Revenge of Oink prologue from Nate, who was in the chat earlier. Not sure if he's still here. But if you guys would like to send in your own spooky stories to the stream, whether or not they're true or false, we prefer, true stories that, either happened to you as a kid. Maybe you saw La Llorona. I've never figured out how to pronounce that, even though I'm Mexican. La Llorona. Whether or not you saw her as a child. My mom was actually telling me a story a few weeks ago of how she saw her in my grandparents' house when she was a kid. Maybe I'll get my mom onto the stream to tell us that story. If you guys know how to pronounce La Llorona, I think that's how it's said. Yeah, we do prefer true stories, but we also enjoy reading a little bit of fan fiction from Nate. Other people have sent in great stories as well that they've written about the channel, that they've written about people from the Discord. If you'd like to send in your own stories, you can send them to my email, ytmatterhornmatt@gmail.com, and we'll get right into this. Revenge of Oink prologue. And like I said, next week will be Chapter 1 of Revenge of Oink. So, timestamp AD 2019. And if you guys don't know what the Oink saga is, you can go back, I want to say maybe a month or two ago. We did a full reading of the new or of the original Oink saga. It's also pinned on the Discord channel, I believe, in the Hall of Fame, if you'd like to read up on that. But timestamp AD 2019. I'm going to turn the phone off. It's been 1 year since Matterhorn Matt and his Mountaineers defeated Oink in his attempt to take over Disneyland. Since then, their powers have grown tremendously. 1 year later, a new threat arises. A man named Bobby Iger has become powerful. He seeks to turn Walt Disney's creative artists, into mindless drones, following his every command. One artist named Tony Baxter has resisted Bobby Iger and is being dealt with for his treasonous behavior. Tony Baxter says, "I had hope in you, Bobby Iger. I told my team to trust you. I told them that you were going to save Disney. But I was wrong. I failed my team, and I failed Walt Disney. I wish I could have told them before you turned them into mindless drones with no creativity and imagination." Bobby Iger replies, "Oh, Mr. Baxter, for years you've led the Imagineers and done great things. Now you stand here as a traitor. You have betrayed your artists and my vision as the leader of Disney. You have spat into the hand that is feeding you. Tony Baxter replies, "You are turning the parks into giant commercials for the latest intellectual property you have bought. Tell us this, Bobby Iger. How many IPs have you acquired today? 1? 100? 10? I mixed those up. 1,000? Bobby Iger says, "Silence. Your insolence will no longer be tolerated. From this day forth, you are no longer an Imagineer. You will be banished and never heard from again." Tony Baxter was shoved into an escape pod that was jettisoned to a place far, far away. End of prologue. I like it so far. I'm very excited to see the future of the Oink Saga. Thank you, Nate. We will get into part 1 of the Oink Saga starting next week on the stream, on the show. It's so weird not having Alex here. Anyways, I think that's just about going to wrap up today's episode. Oh, before we go, I do have something that I would like to showcase. I am thinking of an idea. I have this idea for merch, for a phone case, and I'm going to switch to the image here. Let me close out this. I have a proposal for you guys for a new piece of merchandise. Let's see, a phone case with this design on it, and I want you guys to know what you think of it. Autumn says she's broke. That's okay. If you're broke, if you don't want to buy a phone case, that's fine. I just love to hear your guys' thoughts on whether or not this would be a good phone case to have on my Teespring. And this is it. I'd buy it personally. I feel like this is an amazing phone case with that design on it. I can only imagine walking into Disneyland, walking up to Bobby Iger himself, and shoving the phone case into his face, and then he'll be very confused because he won't know who these people on the phone case are. But I'd like to have your opinions on this, because I feel like it's or even the wallpaper too. I'll probably put that on my Patreon. As a wallpaper, a phone wallpaper, desktop wallpaper. Maybe I'll make it my wallpaper for my computer. But currently I do have this one. I'm a big Dumbo fan, you guys. Anyways, I think that's just about going to wrap up this week's episode of Matterhorn Mondays. We'd love to hear all of your thoughts on today's topics, whether or not it be on all the things, rumors we analyzed about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, or more importantly, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the article from Boardwalk Times about how the crow scene from Dumbo is going to be removed. The rumor that crow scene is going to be removed from the 1941 film Dumbo, as well as Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway being announced, coming to Toontown. We'd love to hear all of your thoughts. Comment down below in the comments. Also, like I said at the beginning of the show, it'd be awesome if you guys could head over to our iTunes page for Matterhorn Mondays, leave a review, because these podcasts are on iTunes as well as SoundCloud and Spotify and any other podcast streaming app, website that you choose to use. We'd love to have some reviews from you guys, because at the moment we only have around 10, maybe I think 15. But yeah, we hope you all enjoyed this episode, and as always, have a great big beautiful tomorrow.